Coming up on today's show, Linsanity takes his talents to Houston, Dwight Howard and the Lakers resume trade talks, and can Tiger Woods get back on track this weekend at the British Open? All that and more coming up on The Good, The Bad, The Teskey. Welcome to episode 5 of The Good, The Bad, The Teskey. I am Colin Teskey, and we're going to talk about the biggest story that's been going on in the NBA the last week or so, and that involves Jeremy Lin and Linsanity now taking his talent to Houston, and it's upset a lot of Knicks fans, especially this one Knicks fan who also decided to make a parody of Goche to express his disgust for James Dolan and the Knicks' decision to let their D-League player turned superstar go.
I haven't seen the final since pretty well played. You could have had a ticker tape parade. Now you're an Asian in cowboy clothes, and we won't be crying for Jeremy that we used to know. Why'd you have to sign so high? Said the Knicks would match it like you never even met James Dolan. I wish that he would pay you, bro. Playing for the Rockets and they're still gonna suck.
For Knicks fans, now he's just Jeremy that they used to know.
And now you're just Jeremy that I used to know. Jeremy.
Now, as far as Goche parodies are concerned, I think this one's got to be the best one that I have heard, and it perfectly describes what Knicks fans are feeling right now. And they are very upset that James Dolan and the Knicks let Jeremy Lin go after the 35-game stint he had with the club this year, where he was third on the team in scoring with 14.2 points per game. This is a guy who came up from the D-League this year, February 4th, and had a monster game against New Jersey, had 25 points. This was in the absence of Carmelo Anthony, who had gone down to injuries, and the Knicks were really struggling at this point in the year. They were an underachieving team, and people were really calling for big changes in the Big Apple. But Jeremy Lin stepped in and for 9 games was the star of that team, and he kept this team competitive and had some monster games, including a 38-point performance against Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. And before that game, Kobe Bryant didn't even know who Jeremy Lin was. And again, Jeremy Lin proved him wrong. But I think the biggest moment I'm going to remember for Jeremy Lin, I was watching this game live on TV, was his shot he hit against the Toronto Raptors, and here it is.
Mike D'Antoni won't call timeout and let the Raptors set up their D. The crowd on its feet here at the Air Canada Center. Lin puts it up. Bang! Jeremy Lin from downtown, and the Knicks take the lead.
Now, that was a clutch shot hit by Jeremy Lin at the Air Canada Center. It was a game winner, and I think that really cemented him as a player that doesn't belong in the D-League anymore, and that this undrafted rookie was here to stay, and that he belonged in the NBA. The whole thing that really gets me, though, is his contract the Houston Rockets offered him. Now, the contract is 3 years, $25 million. He gets paid $5 million in the first 2 years, but then it spikes to $15 million in that third year. And that's what people cited as the reason why the Knicks let him go. And I don't disagree with the Knicks one bit. I think $15 million is too much for a player like Jeremy Lin. Now, the big argument that was coming out of New York, it was written in the New York Times today, was that the New York Knicks shouldn't have worried about paying him $15 million because this year alone, Jeremy Lin brought MSG $600 million in revenue. This guy, Linsanity, took off this year and really created a buzz in New York and around New York basketball that we haven't seen in a very long time. So people cited that as a reason for why they should keep Jeremy Lin and how his marketability would outweigh the third year of that contract. But James Dolan and the New York Knicks have watched this guy under a microscope for those 35 games. They know more about Jeremy Lin than we do, and I think they just realize that this guy isn't what all the hype is about. This guy is just an average point guard, and he's not worth $15 million. And you got to look at other players around the league who are getting paid around that ballpark of money. He would join the likes of LeBron James, Chris Paul, Darren Williams, Kevin Durant, and Dwayne Wade. He's put in the same class of all those superstars. And nothing against Jeremy Lin. It's a great story. I love the underdog aspect of all of this, but you cannot put him in the same class as all of those people. And I think that was the big reason why the Knicks let him go. They've also gone out and signed Jason Kidd to provide some veteran leadership at the point guard position. They've gone out and got Raymond Felton from the Portland Trailblazers. He was also the guy that they traded for Carmelo Anthony. Now he's made his way back to New York. So those are two proven guys that I think are going to work better with Carmelo Anthony, because if you look at the numbers, in that 9-game stretch where Jeremy Lin was the main guy for New York when Carmelo Anthony was injured, he averaged 25 points a game. And when Carmelo Anthony came back, his stats dipped to 13.5 points per game. So clearly, I don't think you could have Jeremy Lin and Carmelo Anthony on the same roster and have them both coexist and be a competitive team. I think with Raymond Felton, if he can just get in shape, he's going to be a better fit for the New York Knicks than Jeremy Lin. Now with the Rockets, you've got a franchise there that needs some star power. Since Yao Ming has left that team, they haven't had the same kind of success. You bring in a guy like Jeremy Lin and you're going to sell tickets. You're going to sell tickets in a market that's not known for basketball. It's not really a basketball state. It's a football state. You're going to bring Jeremy Lin in now. He's got the hype. He's got a chip on his shoulder now that the Knicks didn't re-sign him. So he's going to have something to prove. As well, he's got another chip on his shoulder that really should motivate him, is how James Dolan worded why they didn't re-sign Jeremy Lin. And his reason was that he said that he felt Jeremy Lin should have played in the playoffs when he was 85% ready to go. That was the reason why the Knicks didn't re-sign him. I think that is a load of BS. I don't think that was the sole reason why the Knicks did not re-sign him, because Jeremy Lin personally asked all the veteran players when the team was down 3-1 to the Miami Heat in the first round if he could go back in the game and play. He wanted to play. He had something to prove, and no player likes sitting on the bench. I think that's bogus. I don't think that's the real reason. But veteran players told Jeremy Lin that he shouldn't go back in this series because it would jeopardize his future and might harm him later on. And I think the whole plan was that Jeremy Lin was going to be a part of the future for the Knicks. And I was surprised they didn't lock him up right away, and they started going after players like Steve Nash. They eventually signed Jason Kidd and now Raymond Felton. So now with Jeremy Lin, we're seeing a guy who has done something really unheard of. We have never seen a guy come up from D-League and dominate the way he did, and then not get signed and go back to the Houston Rockets, a team that cut him earlier in the year in December. This has never been done. We've never seen a player quite like this or a story quite like this, but it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds, how Jeremy Lin leads the Houston Rockets next season, and how the Knicks cope without Jeremy Lin and everything else.
The Lakers, they are back in the Dwight Howard sweepstakes. What's the latest that you can tell us on that front?
Well, they never left. You know, the Lakers have always been interested in getting Dwight Howard, and they've continued to have talks with the Magic. You know, it really picked up over the past week or so when things kind of fell apart with Dwight's chances of going to the Brooklyn Nets. But right now, there's nothing imminent.
I'm going to keep this one short because I'm sick and tired of talking about Dwight Howard and how big of a diva this guy is. He's got to be the biggest diva in sports right now. He has caused the Orlando Magic and that whole franchise so much grief the last couple years. He repeatedly said he is loyal to that city and that he wants to stay there with the team. He told management that this year at one point, and he told them that he wanted their coach Stan Van Gundy fired if he was going to stick around in Orlando. So the team goes ahead and fires Stan Van Gundy, and then Dwight Howard flips the switch and now wants to be traded. You know, Stan Van Gundy was a great coach, and he got him fired, and now he doesn't want to stick around in Orlando. And the worst part about all this is he's being picky about where he wants to go. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and he's refusing to go anywhere but Brooklyn. And it's really putting a dagger in the Orlando Magic's hopes to trade Dwight Howard, because every team other than Brooklyn is scared to trade for this guy if he doesn't sign there long term, because they're afraid he's going to sign in Brooklyn as a free agent anyway. The most intriguing part about this is that the Los Angeles Lakers are a team interested in courting Dwight Howard. They have the best pieces available to acquire him as well, And the rumor is they're going to try to get rid of Andrew Bynum for Dwight Howard. That's a good, in terms of the market out there, that's the best for the Orlando Magic. They can get a quality center like Andrew Bynum to replace Dwight Howard. That would really satisfy both sides, while the Lakers get a dominant big post presence to play alongside Kobe and Steve Nash. I'm telling Dwight Howard right now, you got to suck it up. You can't be picky about where you're going to play, and Los Angeles is a great destination. I think with his personality, he will soak up the limelight in California and be a great fit for that club, and he can win a title too. That would really put them as one of the top teams in the Western Conference. So I don't see why Dwight Howard is still complaining and begging to go to Brooklyn. All right, so let's move on to golf now. We're going to briefly talk about the British Open, which gets underway tomorrow. And I am hoping that Tiger Woods can finally get back on track and win this tournament. Now, Tiger Woods, again, the guy has been trying to rework his swing, and I think he's finally figured it out. The guy has won 3 tournaments so far this year. He has won the AT&T National Championship, the Memorial Tournament, and the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And he's been the top money winner on the tour so far this year. And he has the most wins out of any other golfer in 2012 with 3 tournament wins. Now, he had a little bit of a rough go at the U.S. Open, was in the hunt for a little bit, and then fell apart there on the 3rd day. But again, you have Tiger Woods right now as the favorite going into the British Open. And if he can just get this win, if he can just get one major title, I think the whole talk of Tiger Woods catching up to Jack Nicklaus for most major titles by a professional golfer might become a relevant topic again. Now, Tiger Woods is sitting at 14. He's got 4 more to catch Jack Nicklaus. Now, people think Tiger is getting too old now, turns 37 in December, and a lot of people think he's not going to catch Jack Nicklaus's record. But if you look at Jack Nicklaus, man, this guy won 2 championships when he was 40. One when he was 46, and another championship when he was 38 years old. So he won 4 championships from when he was 38 to 46. So there's definitely a chance here that Tiger Woods can catch the great Jack Nicklaus, and I think it might start this weekend at the British Open. And if he can get this win, it'll bring a lot of people back to the game of golf and put it back on the map since Tiger won his last major in 2008. That's all for me today. Tune in next time to The Good, The Bad, The Teskey. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you for listening.